Oh, look on live. None of you watch kind of funny stuff, do you?
Every now and again.
They've moved to some new studios today. Looks like they spent a shit ton of money.
I read something about it, I haven't seen it though.
Right, let's get on with the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 47 of the Out of Nowhere's podcast, the pay-per-view recap show. I'm your host once again, Michael Allen, and joining me is my brother Stephen.
Good evening.
Brother, how you doing?
I'm not too bad, a little tired today, but all in all, okay.
Yeah, when you say that, you say, I'm a little tired today. Yes, you sound it. What was it, a 4 a.m. bed? 5 a.m.
Yeah, half four bed, 6 get up. I got an extra half an hour this morning.
Oh, well, round of applause for you.
Thank you. But considering I only had an hour the night before between NXT and my youngest son getting up, it was all good.
Well, that's good fathering right there.
Thank you.
And joining us is Chelsea.
Hey.
Whoa. Like, last show, every time I make an entrance, it's going to be glorious.
Yeah.
And the very next show, no glorious.
I'm tired, I forgot.
You're tired too. Excellent. You know what? I didn't have to go to work today, so I'm feeling okay. Don't know about you guys. And let's get on with the show. Saturday was the start of the weekend of wrestling delightfulness, and we had NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2. This seems. I said this to one of you. I don't know who it was now, but I said this to. This seems to be NXT's WrestleMania. Like NXT TakeOver Brooklyn seems to be their biggest show. I don't know why. I don't know if that's just a fallout from what happened last year. I guess, but did any of you get that feeling that it was a big show for them?
Yeah, it always seems to be. I mean, even from Dallas at WrestleMania, like this just seems so much bigger. I can't even remember what the main event was at Dallas. Is it Finn Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, my memory stops at Shinsuke versus Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn.
Yeah. Which was like match 3.
But yeah, no. For some reason, I think you're right when you say just how good last year was. So I think they just decided to build on it, and rather than because I think one of you two said, like, whenever they put on a show the day before, it always seems to upstage what they do the day after. And if they were to put on like this big of a thing before WrestleMania, it'd be even worse for then.
I'd have to watch them back now, but I think in my head I'm thinking that Dallas was better than the show, but that's just. I mean, I haven't watched them back, but that's just my first take opinion.
I would say that the Dallas one was better, but I would also think that the WWE would realise that putting this show on the day before does embarrass the main roster and the main pay-per-view of the weekend.
Well, I think we would say that NXT have a great wrestling show and WWE have a massive shock and awe. So we'll get into that. But let's just quickly recap NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. And we started with Steven's boy, No Way Jose versus Austin Aries. And let's not make any bones about it. This was Austin Aries' best outing in the WWE, without a shadow of a doubt. But Joe used a Falcon Arrow and got out of Last Chance at Surrey and finished the show. So picking up the win over No Way Jose. But then after the match, out comes Hideo Itami, who's I don't know if we've said this on the show, but since he's come back, that scar is, I mean, that's some scar, that thing on his shoulder. I don't know what they've done to him, but he looks like a bionicle man with the size of that thing. They must have put some hardware in there.
He's had like 2 or 3 surgeries, hasn't he? So probably just the amount of scar tissue that he's been left with.
Yeah, it's just not being left to heal, I guess. But out comes Hideo Itami. It's, well, I think Ares attacked first, but Itami ends on top as he hits him with the GTS, and the fans go wild. Chelsea, we finally have Hideo hitting a GTS.
I think we all kind of summed it up in our group chat, didn't we? I think it all was just a unison of fuck. But it was the first time it's ever been like televised, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And I always think how good it would be, and then just it's the build up of, because nowadays we get the finishes and everything happening so often that you don't really see a move that you don't see very often. So for that to come out when really you're not expecting it because he's never done it before, and it's such a great move too.
It is a great move. He is the inventor of the move, although CM Punk probably made it more famous in the mainstream. But yeah, as soon as he came out, the crowd were chanting for that GTS. But yeah, Steve, your boy No Way Jose taking another beating, sadly.
Yeah, he did, but I think that was always going to be the case in this one. Austin Aries is a great heel wrestler, which is what I took out of it. You know, it was kind of like, since obviously he kind of played the face up until this sort of start of the feud with No Way Jose, and I think it was rightly used to showcase Aries as the heel, and then lead into something much more exciting between him and Hideo. I love No Way Jose. I mean, it's I love his entrance. I love the the smile on his face and what he does, and the crowd are behind it. But he does what he needs to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's never going to have like a push at the championship or anything like that. But he's very good. He'll be very good at putting events over and getting, not that Austin Aries needed to be put over, but to highlight how his heelness.
I don't know. I'll have to disagree with that, actually. I think Austin Aries did need putting over. He's had such, I don't want to say weak showings, but he's not been showing as good as, like, you've not watched much TNA,
No,
Steve. And
no.
when he came in, me and Chelsea was like, oh shit, Austin Aries is here. And then since then, I don't think he's done anything to have warranted the response that we gave.
Yeah.
So I think he probably did need help being put over, and this was his best appearance, in my opinion.
He probably, it'll be something that'll kind of get lost because of the fact that he's so, like, it's more of a gimmick. But No Way Jose he's a good wrestler once he gets in there. And yeah, I thought the match, it kicked off NXT perfectly. I thought it was a great start. No Way Jose got the crowd going, and then Aries did what he did, which also got the crowd going and set us off on a great pace.
It certainly did, and Itami coming out to hit the GTS certainly tops it off, because it's a great finisher that we don't see we haven't seen since CM Punk left, and that moves on neatly to the next match with the debut of Ember Moon, who, let's be honest, has one of the best looking finishers around. That move, I don't know what she calls it. I can't remember what she used to call it on the indies, but that flipping stunner from the corner.
It's like a tornado stunner, isn't it?
Yeah, basically. I mean, what a move! Let's just say she defeated Billie Kay in her debut in what was obviously expected. And Billie Kay, man, she needs to work on her wrestling. And even selling, she didn't even sell like being punched in the face. She just didn't even do anything. So go on, Billie Kay, up your game a little bit. But Ember Moon's been around for a while on the indies, and that finisher. I mean, Chelsea, when we discussed before, and you said go check out her finisher. I
Yeah.
mean, it's something else. Other than that, I don't really think there's that much to say. I can't wait to see what Ember Moon does next, and actually gets into a real feud.
She's she's fallen in, or they've booked, they've waited with. I'm presuming that they've had her on the books for a little while now and have been sort of waiting that right time to to bring her in onto the roster, and now is the perfect time because obviously with the likes of the number of women that have moved up, onto the main roster, it's looking very bare on the women's when it was one of the strongest parts of NXT. It's starting to look a bit bare, so I think that she's definitely going to come in and she's going to fit in. Will fit in very nicely into the women's title picture. Absolutely.
It certainly will, and how the women's title picture ended up this event, it certainly seems like it might be needed.
Definitely.
It was called the O-Face, Ember Moon's finisher, which ain't a very good name, I don't think. So Ember Moon might need to make a new name for that one. But yeah, the O-Face. If you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. Just Google it. Right, out comes next the glorious Bobby Roode in. Let's rank the entrances of the weekend. Is this number one? Was this the number one entrance?
No, it's number 2.
To
Joint
what?
top.
To Shinsuke.
To Shinsuke. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I can accept that, but
And
those two are clearly 1A and 1B.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very close, but I feel like when we heard the room, when obviously we started, the rumors started leaking around, just before, and we were in that conversation about Shinsuke possibly having a live entrance. That was not what I was expecting. Like, I was expecting some kind of, a band of some sort. So when it was just the lone violinist, the atmosphere that produced as he came out on top of the music, and then the fans' reaction to it, I think very, just about pipped Bobby Roode to the best entrance, but only just.
Only just nothing came close to it on SummerSlam, so it was definitely these two. But yeah, Bobby Roode comes out to defeat Andrade Cien Almas. Did I get it right? I don't know if I did. He picks up the win with a pump handle slam, which they are calling the Glorious Bomb. Hashtag Glorious Bomb. Man, it was a great match, and Bobby Roode is such a good worker. I just want him to have a better finisher. Like the pump handle slam looks so weak now. I remember when Road Dogg Jesse James used to do it. I used to really like it, but now I'm looking at Bobby Roode and the size of him, and I'm just thinking, man, this is he needs something a little bit more powerful than that.
Yeah, definitely. It was the only thing that was disappointing with the whole thing was that, to see such a sort of standard finishing maneuver, and especially in NXT when we've got what we've got down there, and especially when you've just followed Ember Moon and what she's produced.
Yeah.
To see a pump, like you say, to see Road Dogg's pump handle slam. And it's also got to the point now, and this is something that kind of came across the entire weekend for me, was that you just it's not believable that a pump handle slam could finish a match anymore.
No, it's very true.
Like
after all the moves they do just mid match, it's the pump handle slam that's the cherry on the cake.
Yeah, exactly. It's always been like Nia Jax destroying her opponent and then winning with a leg drop. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely agree. I think he definitely could do with another finisher, But other than that, I thought it was a great live debut. His main live debut. I thought it was a great way, and it was a great entrance and a great match.
The other part of the match was obviously Almas, who I thought did a fantastic job. Like this was the best I've ever seen him. He got a few near falls. He even hit his double knees in the corner which is typically his finisher. So I mean, he got his kicks in. Uh, I'm not being impressed with it. I think for me, I turn off from him straight away when I see him in that
It's
fucking
that entrance, isn't it?
stripper gimmick. And
Yeah.
unless, I mean, this time he came out in red, so that he changed it up a bit, I guess. But Chelsea, was you impressed with Almas as much as I was, or was it
Yeah,
all about Bobby Roode for you?
well, it's hard to take my eyes off Bobby Roode, but yeah, no, like you say, it's definitely the best that we've seen him. But unfortunately, he does still look like a stripper when he comes out. But no, this I was really surprised by this match actually. I mean, I know they're both great in the ring, but
Every week. It's a
Someone's
guarantee.
Lester's on the run. It's fine.
but no, he definitely impressed me. I mean, he's always been good from what I've seen, but yeah, I can't really expand on what you've said. Really, he was really good.
Now, before we go any further, I know I've obviously mentioned the entrance, but how good was that entire crowd? Someone's just signing on the Xbox now. How good was the entire crowd singing Bobby Roode's song?
The entrance, like I just literally had this massive grin on my face throughout the whole thing. It was it was amazing. I was expecting him to do something like that, but for him to just stand there and like the grin on his face when he was coming down and him like putting his name up on the Titantron and stuff, it was
Yeah, it's stupid things like that that please me. Like even on making my character on the entrance on the video games, I remember once I used to come out to Kurt Angle's music, and also Edge's movement. And just as you put your hands up in the air, Kurt Angle's music went to a different part, and it just timed perfectly. I just love things like that. It's stupid, totally unnecessary. But when he did that, and he flashed his name on the Titantron, and the music just timed it perfectly. I lost it. It was fantastic, unnecessarily, and it might have only been me who even thought it, but I thought it was brilliant. uh, but yeah, that's a win for Bob Roode. Can't wait to see what he does next. Maybe something to do with this video that said Sanity, it's a Riot video that showed up after the match. But hey, who knows? We'll find
There's
out more.
I can't give you the name of the person that that it was rumored to linked with, but I was reading a few little bits on my lunch today, and that was seemed to be linked with another woman wrestler, more than a man, or that was the rumor. But the woman in question, I can't remember her name, kind of had as her name, it was kind of linked to being a bit like Sanity. So it seemed to suggest that was the front runner, that it was actually another woman that would be coming through rather than a male. But we'll
I've,
have to see on that.
yeah, I've heard probably lots of different rumors, but I don't know if any of you know Tommy N from ICW. He's recently signed with NXT, and there's rumors of him it being for him too.
Oh, so we've got a whole spectrum of people it could be then,
Could be anyone.
basically.
Yeah.
Oh well, I'm sure this will not be the first video we'll see. It definitely won't be the last. I think there was one here that you were saying, Steve, someone called Crazy Mary Dobson.
Ah, yes, yeah.
And also it could reportedly for Eric Young, who we saw in NXT one time. He could be re-debuting if he has actually signed, which is the report. So maybe it could be a whole lot of people, from EY to Mary Dobson and to whoever it is that Chelsea just said. Let us get on to possibly one of the best matches of the night. I don't know if you'd agree. I'm pretty sure you will. We had the NXT Tag Team Championships defended, the Revival versus Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. Whew, this was a doozy of a match, eh?
It was beautiful.
It was.
I don't really know what more. I could probably speak about this match for the duration. Everything about it just was beautifully done. The Revival are the perfect heel tag team. I don't think I genuinely in the last 10 years, is there any tag team that have got it so spot on? The being how to be a heel tag team. It's just perfect the way that they work. Everything about them is absolutely brilliant, and I can't wait for them to move up to the main roster and start showing the stuff, because I can just see some great championship matches between them and American Alpha on the main stage.
Yeah, we've already seen a couple down on the small stage. So if get onto the big one, I'm absolutely positive that they'll be able to deliver just as good, if not better. But it was the Revival getting the win this time. But as you said, Stephen, it's the textbook nature of the Revival's heel tag teamness, which is just perfect. The false finishes, the putting his foot on the rope at a 3 count, the blind tag, drawing the ref in for the blind tag, just all these things just added up. Chelsea, it got to a point towards the end there that Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano looked like they were going to get the win, but the Revival stole it. Was you rooting for Ciampa and Gargano, or are you happy that the Revival have kept this?
It was kind of one of those matches where I didn't really have a preference as to who was going to win.
Just sit back and enjoy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I absolutely love the Revival. Like what Steve said, they are the best heel tag team in such a long time. And Ciampa and Gargano, like I've seen their stuff before they were in NXT. Their CWC match last week, you can't help but root for them. But yeah, it was definitely one of those matches where I was very happy just to sit back and enjoy it.
And the crowd were 100% behind Gargano. Like the chants for Johnny Wrestling were off the chain at this point. I mean, he must have got one of the biggest cheers of the night, I thought.
Yeah.
They always have been, haven't they? He's always been the reaction to him has been ridiculous. Be interesting to see what they do with those two, to see whether they keep them as a tag team, or whether they push them as the individual superstars, because either way they're going to be a success, but it'll be interesting to see which way they decide to use them to start with.
Well, they are both under 205. They're both in the Cruiserweight Classics. Gargano's still in it. On this show we saw that the trophy for the CWC has been revealed. Is it possible that Gargano wins it and takes it over to Raw and called up?
I think Gargano definitely has a chance of winning it, but I think it would be a shame for somebody who's already been signed to the WWE and has been on TV for a while to take the win.
Yeah, I totally agree. But, WWE logic and all that. I just thought it might have been an interesting one way to get him over to the main show.
It is certainly one possibility. They almost do tease that all the way through that that even though they're tagged together, you do get the feeling that they are individual competitors, don't you? Like that you don't get the feel that they're they're going to be a long-standing tag team, that they are going to kind of go their own separate ways. Both of them are made for if there's a when the Cruiserweight Championship starts getting up and running on Raw, both of them are more than worthy of being on there. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, I don't know about you two, but there was more than a split second at the end of that where I thought Ciampa was going to just lay out Gargano at the end.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have made any sense at all. But other than the fact you can just book him as a crazy bastard.
Yeah, he does have that kind of nature, doesn't he? You can just see that happening.
Like I was worried for I'd say more than a split second. It was a lingering minute. I thought he was just going to totally wipe him out.
Also, very clever of them to have, it be Gargano that's losing the matches, because I feel that that's a little bit easier. The crowd. If Ciampa's losing those match, if he's the one getting the pin, I feel that there's more chance of it weakening him than it is Gargano at this moment in time. And so very clever that they've had him be the one that's kind of, that's lost the match, so to speak.
Well, so you see Ciampa as the biggie, if you like, who ain't going to take the loss. It's Gargano needs to be taking it.
Yeah, like I think Gargano, he can take the loss and carry on the momentum that he's got with the crowd and with everything else, and obviously he's still in the Cruiserweight Championship. I think Ciampa as an individual, if he starts taking those losses in the tag team ones, I feel that it could affect him. It could certainly affect him more than it would Gargano at this moment. I think so. I think it was quite a clever move that it's Gargano that's taking the pinfall.
Mm. Well, I'm certainly looking forward to what happens next. I don't know who the Revival could go up against next. Charles, do you reckon Ciampa Gargano is going to stay on that scene, or do you think they're going to move aside and maybe TM 61 or TM 16, something like that? TM. I don't know, Will-O-Wisp. That's the Pokemon move. It's Will-O-Wisp. That's what I'm going to call them from now. Do you think they could be coming in and taking that spot instead, or do you think we're going to get another Gargano Ciampa spot until they do eventually win the title?
Yeah, I can definitely see them picking up the title. Definitely, I just think, like Steve was saying, like them as a tag team, they could easily be split. Like they don't have a tag team name or anything like that. They're still
They
very.
do. They do. They've come out now. It's DIY.
Yeah, but they're not being announced that way, are they? They're still Ciampa and Gargano. Like it's not when American Alpha went from Jason Jordan and Chad Gable. Like.
Oh well, they've only just made the name up. He's only
Yeah,
just...
they have got a T-shirt now, so.
Yeah, it's just hashtag DIY though, isn't it?
I don't know. It seems like that. It seems like that was the name.
Yeah, well, I like it. I definitely think they're going to be sticking around together for a little bit. Maybe when they do go up to Raw, that's when they do split, like with the Cruiserweight Championship sort of thing. But I could definitely see them sticking together at the moment, just to give probably another match with the Revival at some point, and I'd happily have them take the tag team titles.
Well, there isn't anybody else really for the Revival at the moment. Is like you said,
No.
that whatever they're called, the two Australian guys, or one Australian and American, or whatever. They're I don't think they're ready to be challenging. I know they've been getting the push, haven't they, over the last month or so from through on the NXT shows, but I just don't get I don't get that feeling that they're at that kind of level at the moment.
No.
And
The authors are paying too. I can see them being pushed heavily.
Yeah. True. Totally
yeah.
Anyway, that's the tag team scene. Let's leave that behind and move on to the NXT Women's Championship match. And again, I mean, does Bayley ever have a bad match? She got the biggest reaction out of literally everybody, I think. But it was Asuka coming away with a victory rather surprisingly, I would have thought. I think we unanimously thought that Bayley might get this win, although I think it was a coin toss, let's be honest. But Bayley, in a much more aggressive and stronger showing than usual, got defeated with a few vicious kicks to the head, and was defeated with the other members of the Four Horsewomen at ringside. Chelsea, after the match, we had a lot of thank you Baileys. We had her hugging the Four Horsewomen at the ringside. Even Asuka picked her up and gave her a hug after the match as well.
Yeah.
Before seemingly that Bayley was waving goodbye.
Yeah, it definitely had a Sami Zayn at Dallas vibe to it, didn't it?
Difference is we knew that was the last one for Sami.
Well, I think we've said the past couple of weeks, like if Bayley didn't win like she didn't last night, and with her already have been on the main roster, the Battleground, it didn't really come that much as a surprise. I mean, I can almost guarantee that she's going to be on Raw tonight. But but no, it was very sweet, I think, and that's what I like most about NXT is when you do have people going up and they they're not in character, and Asuka giving Bayley the hug, and it was the same with Bayley and Sasha as well. Like at the time that was meant to be Sasha's last match.
Yeah.
It just feels so real with NXT, and it was really. I had a tear in my eye.
No, of course you did. But it didn't look like that way. It was going to end that way. I mean, we saw Asuka kick out of the belly to belly after Bayley had already gotten out of the Asuka lock. So I mean, it was certainly a back and forth match. Stephen, where does this rank in the pantheon of Bayley matches for you? Because it was certainly a good one.
It's certainly it's certainly up there in the top, the top three, the top five. I think the thing with Bayley is that you don't get a bad match out of her, especially when it comes to the pay-per-view style matches. What she puts on with her opponent, whoever it is an absolute, credit to the women's division at the moment, and it just shows like how strong it really is at the NXT level, and she's primed to go up. I was glad. I'm not sure what they're going to do with her when she gets there. Hopefully they don't spoil it, but she with Ember Moon coming, and then there's obviously like we were just saying, there's these other women that have been signed. Maybe we said on the last podcast that it wasn't the right time for Bayley to leave NXT with there being a shortage, but Ember Moon showed that she could certainly challenge Asuka for the title, which is where I would fully expect it to go eventually. Because who else is going to challenge Asuka at this point?
Not Billie Kay.
Because I think that's the other highlight to take out of this is how dominant Asuka actually is as a woman, a woman wrestler.
Yeah.
There's nobody on that women's roster now in NXT who you could actually believe could beat her for the title at the moment.
Well,
except for Ember Moon.
Yeah, they've all gone now, and luckily there is Ember Moon now. Otherwise, there'd literally be nobody. If this was in fact Bayley's goodbye,
I think it definitely was, and I think that that's been allowed for the fact that they have got Ember Moon on board, and from the one match that we've seen, it's clearly visible that she's not some wet behind the ear coming out of development. She's come from a background, I presume, very similar to Asuka's. She's had the years of experience.
She ain't green, that's for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah, she's going to be able to come in. She's going to be able to work with Asuka straight away, and I think that's finally given them the confidence to say, right, Bayley, you can go because you are too big for NXT now, and she's going to make them an absolutely boatload of money.
Well, this is the thing. What was it? Who said it recently? That it was on the Jericho podcast. Jericho said with Finn Balor's gimmick and his merch that could sell, he just imagines Vince McMahon sitting in his vault of money. I put Bayley on the main roster. She's going to sell too. So just think of the money not being earned when she's still down there. So yeah. Big exodus lately from NXT, but I guess that's the nature of development, isn't it? These
Absolutely.
guys they've all grown up now, they've all developed, and now it's time to, go and fly off to do their own thing and leave NXT to.
It is, and I think that's definitely the case, and I think it's kind of, I think we've said it a couple of times, haven't we? Where you've got to kind of you've got to start probably looking at NXT as like a 2-year story, where, like you say, at the end of it, they grow up and they leave they leave the coop and they go out into the big world by themselves, and we start again and we take the next batch on and we see what can go from there. Because we were saying, weren't we, before about how we're gonna you list the names, and Finn Balor said it on the Jericho podcast as well. You list the names that have gone or who went before he left. and it survives. There's people there
Yeah.
all the time. You know,
Yeah.
there's enough there in the men's division to keep NXT going as it is. There's women coming through. There's more than there's more than half a dozen women that are coming through. They just need that time now that they can now get, because the likes of Bayley and Nia Jax have now moved up. They can get those opportunities, and they'll flourish just like just like they have.
Well, I certainly hope so. I mean, we haven't had confirmation that Bayley's moving on yet, but I have absolutely no doubt in her wrestling ability. I'm hoping that the character isn't too. Um, hoping that the size of Raw isn't too big for her, which was always my worry. But are we confident, Chelsea, that this character can be totally 100% fine on the main show?
There's no doubt about Bailey's potential. I don't think. I mean, we've said it before. She's gonna end up the female John Cena. Like the connection that she has with the kids, especially. Like
Yeah.
she's gonna blow up.
Well, the one thing I won't get, well, I'm sure we will now, but the one thing I wouldn't mind not seeing anymore is fucking Izzy. She can do one. Let's move on to the main event of the evening. We had Shinsuke Nakamura going against Mojo for the NXT Championship. We have already mentioned the violinist playing Nakamura's entrance, which was sweet. Yeah, my TV went mental with the lights, so that was awesome. But the gosh, this was a stiff match, wasn't it? These two strong style guys just kicking the hell out of each other, knees, elbows, forearm smashes. We had Nakamura kick out of a muscle buster, which secured the win for Samoa Joe against Finn Balor. And in the end, it was a kneeling Shinkasa and then a standing Shinkasa, which eventually defeated Samoa Joe. And Shinsuke Nakamura is your new NXT champion. Yeah, I'm a bit surprised by this one. I thought Joe would have kept it more than one, more than one takeover show. But I mean, I'm not upset about it at all. I can't be upset about it. It was a great match, but Nakamura's the 9th champion now. Could you name the other 8?
Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Big
E.
Yeah.
Bo Dallas.
Yeah.
Poor Dallas.
Neville.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn.
Yeah. Even getting him in order here. Go on,
Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Finn Balor.
Yeah. No, Joe. You missed him out.
Oh, Joe.
You totally missed Joe out. It's in the match. She's defending. It turns out that who was it? One of you said Joe has taken injury. He looked like he was injured at the end. The X was put up by one of the trainers. What's happened to Joe?
They had to pick his jaw off the floor. And they've sewn it back on.
Yeah.
It was a dislocate. Yeah, he dislocated his jaw, which comes as no surprise when you saw the last one. The last Kinshasa was brutal, and after the damage that was taken throughout the match anyway, it comes as absolutely no surprise that there was some kind of facial injury in that match. But like you said, this was just brutal. There was nothing fancy. There was nothing artsy about this. It was just a pure fight, and it was just beautiful to watch. And seeing Nakamura win it at the end, I thought was fantastic. I was a bit like you. I'm a little surprised that Joe dropped it, so quickly, but. It was always going to be hard for him to keep it when he was taking on Nakamura and what he brings to the ring. But I always the problem I have now because we're so like we we know everything that goes on, backstage, and we know that they get called up and stuff. I'm too busy thinking all the time, right? They're getting called up now. They're getting called up. I'm like
Right, Joe's ready. Get him up.
exactly. Yeah, like that's it. I just everybody now, if they lose a match, I just think right, they must be getting called up now.
It'll be even worse now, see, when we have 3 weeks of no Joe because it's got to just get Joe. You'd be like, well, where is it? Oh, he's having a rest. Oh, he must be going up to the main show. Just waiting for that chance.
Yeah, it's. I'm more than looking forward to the rematch that we'll get between them. I think it'll be another fantastic event, and maybe a trilogy between the three, because there's probably there isn't really anybody else on the scene just at this moment in time, is there, that would push them to? I don't think who who would fall into that main event scene. Now you kind of Aries has got his person, Bobby Roode drop straight into it, maybe.
I can't see Bobby Roode being down there too long, man.
No,
but you can't see. You couldn't see Samoa Joe or Nakamura either, can you?
Nakamura I could, Joe not so much. Yeah, but I just think that Bobby Roode is just already just ready. I don't really understand why he's gone down there. Like Gallows and Anderson went straight onto the main show. I would have thought that them coming from Japan would have gone into NXT for a little while. I don't see why Bobby Roode's gone down there, but hey, if he goes up against either one of these guys, I mean, we've already seen Samoa Joe go up against him many times. I ain't gonna be the one to complain, so bring it on. But I don't know about you two. There was obviously a lot of strong striking, forearm smashes, everything like I said, but there was also a lot of chain wrestling going on. Was that a surprise to you, Chelsea? I know we both know that these two can chain wrestle, but given the heated build-up, shall we say, from definitely Samoa Joe's side, I didn't really expect to be seeing much, mat wrestling going on, chain wrestling.
No, I was definitely expecting more of just them two just beating each other up. But it was really nice to see, actually. Like, 'cause that's something you get on the main roster, really, isn't it? Like, you get a feud like that where they're going off against each other and put them in a main event or a pay-per-view on Raw, and they would just go absolutely all against each other. But it's still wrestling at its heart, and to see them have a great match. I mean, this is easily up there with. It's not as good as Sami Zayn, but I think it's definitely one of Nakamura's better matches, I think, that he's had. But I think the only thing that I take away from this is with how aggressive Joe is, I just want to make an outlandish prediction.
Yeah.
So in a year's time.
We like reckless speculation, don't we?
We do.
I really, really want Joe to be the one to take down Brock Lesnar.
That'd be fucking awesome.
Just even those who just haven't, them two just having a match.
One of the only people who might be able to make any kind of inroads to Brock Lesnar.
I think Samoa Joe, with just how aggressive he is, put him in the ring with Brock Lesnar, and that is a fight where I'm not gonna go, oh, Brock's definitely gonna win this one.
There's no ring involved if that goes on. That's out in the streets. That is out. Yeah, that's out in the streets.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar's just walking around in his farm and just runs into a shadow, and it's gonna be like the deletion from Matt Hardy all over again.
But no, that is a match that I really, really want to happen sooner rather than later.
Could definitely buy into that.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. If anybody beats Brock Lesnar, it's gonna be a young up and comer, and unfortunately, Joe might be young to the WWE, but he ain't got, his strings a lot longer. So I don't see it being Joe, but I'd love to see that match. We'd have to do it on 2K17 instead. That's the end of the Takeover show. Let's not give it any stars, but I thought it was fantastic. You two?
Yeah, brilliant.
Another great production.
They never do a bad one, do they? I mean, I was just going to say I can't wait for them to do a bad one, but I don't want to see that. But I mean, I just don't think it's going to happen.
They're on point with everything out there. They really are. What they're doing down there, what the creative team are doing, how they're training them. Triple H's direction as the head of it. It's showing exactly how it should be done, and it's showing how good it can be when you have got that perfect balance backstage.
Well, that's what I really want to know. I know that Triple H is obviously the head of NXT or whatever, or the brainchild of NXT, but who's the agents for these matches? Who's booking? Who's writing? Or are they just calling it in the ring? Because man, they as you said, it's they outshine what happens on the main roster 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
So hey, hopefully we'll see some more of these NXT style matches on the main cards and the main pay-per-views, which we should get on to now. Now, there's a lot of matches on the Summerslam show. It was a 2-hour pre-show, 4-hour actual show. So we're going to skip some. We'll just tell you what the results were. Let's get the totally irrelevant pre-show matches out of the way. Hype Bros, American Alphas, and the Usos defeated their team of the Board Villains, Tyler Breeze, Fandango, and the Ascension. With Jordan Gable being totally over as usual and getting the win, but it was actually the Usos getting the actual pinfall as Jay did a sneaky tag onto Chad Gable as they did their finisher to steal the win, which goes nicely into one of the things you were saying, so that you think maybe the Usos might go a little bit heel. So
yeah, definitely. I definitely welcome the tension that you could feel in that ending between the two teams. More than happy to see the Usos giving a heel turn a go. Like I've said it a couple of times, I'd love to see them kind of just change the face paint to sort of black and white and come out in a more darker thing. And I'm more than happy to see them two fight for the SmackDown tag titles. When that gets introduced.
Well, maybe another pairing that can go in on the tag title picture was the next match. We had the Dudleys being defeated by a team of Neville and Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn hit the haluva kick on Bubba, and Neville then hit him with the Red Arrow for the win.
Breaking news while we're talking about the Dudley Boys. Breaking news 6 minutes ago from WWE Raw. The Dudley Boys are retiring tonight on Raw.
Oh.
Well, that just rubs out my split of the Dudleys and get Bully Ray out there.
I'm just gonna read the article, but just to see whether they're retiring as the tag team or what's going on. But we've said for a while that Devon's wanted to take that step back for a while, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Devon was wanting to go backstage, wasn't he? But
Devon tweeted earlier on, 1 year ago we came back to the WWE and to the WWE universe. Now it's time to say goodbye tonight on Raw. But yeah, it looks like they are retiring. No singles runs or anything like that, but they are saying goodbye.
I'd be very surprised to not see something come out of that tonight. And that fits that kind of there's seems like a little bit of coincidence there with the last 2 to 3 weeks where we've had since the draft, where we've had kind of the mix-ups as a tag team where Devon's cost them and Bubba Ray, looked in disgust, and they had the same thing at the weekend, didn't they? Of like running into, he knocked him off the apron.
Yeah.
Whilst I'm more than sure that Devon is retiring, it wouldn't put it past me if they do something with that and keep Bubba Ray as a single competitor.
Yeah,
he's still got a lot to give. I would be very surprised if he's retiring as well fully.
They could come down to the ring and be like, "We're retiring," and then Bully Ray just totally takes out Devon, give him a beat down, and says, "You might be behind me."
Yeah, definitely.
Oh well, thanks for the breaking news, Chance.
It does say in the article, just going off what you're saying about maybe Brotherton on Devon, the article reads, one night after yet another miscommunication cost the Dudley Boys a victory during the Summerslam kickoff. The most decorated tag team in sports and entertainment history will be saying their farewells tonight. So it is. They have made a point to say that another miscommunication.
Yeah. Another thing, utter bullshit that they've not won the titles for the 10th time in their comeback.
Stupid.
Yeah,
Absolute
absolutely.
waste. Yeah, definitely a waste of time. They didn't even need to have it for like a long time, did they? They could have had it for a month and lose it at the next pay-per-view to, lose it back to New Day or something like that.
Mm.
To bring them back and then completely waste them because they've done nothing but put teams over, and it's a little bit of like I don't know. It seems like a lack of respect on the WWE's part not to give them that one more title, whilst that like you say, they've basically put over every single team down there now, haven't they? Over this last year.
Oh, well, that's disappointing. Well, you've got it there. The most decorated WWE tag team in history is retiring tonight on Raw. So go ahead and watch that and listen out for our reactions as to what actually happens on our next show. Um, and the final show, the pre-show, best of seven series match one, Cesaro versus Sheamus. Sheamus getting the win with a what was it called? A bro kick.
Yeah, a little eye rake and a bro kick.
Yeah, so that's the end of that one. Match one done. Sheamus got the win. Bothered.
I quite enjoyed the match actually. I thought
Yeah, the
it
match
picked.
was fine, but I
I thought it
mean,
picked up. I think the only thing that you would say, I mean, we were saying this on when we were on the Xbox last night, didn't we, Mike? That I do think there needs to be some stipulations. I think we are always saying actually there needs to be some stipulations around this best of seven series because seven individual singles matches isn't gonna. This match might have been enjoyable, but when we're watching it for the seventh time, I think all of us might be a bit stale if we don't see some stipulations in there. But I do think they can definitely do something with it. And
yeah.
I thought Sheamus is starting to look like that strong competitor that he did before.
Well, that's what happens when you have Mick Foley firing you up.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong when I say I'm not bothered. It's a good match and all, but there's just nothing to take away from it. There's only
No.
match one. It is going to go seven. There's no way. There's two ways about it.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I want to see some more good singles matches, but I want to see some stipulations too. Get a street fight in there, get a no holds barred match in there, and get a no disqualifications match in there. Three things exactly the same, three different names. Just make up some time. Right, we open up the main show then, the main Summerslam show. Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens versus Enzo Amore and Big Cass, and the hometown boys, Enzo and Cass, got a massive reaction for their usual shtick, and a pre-match promo which was basically laced with New York and what was it, the Empire State of Mind song lyrics and Frank Sinatra. We even had Big Cass singing Frank Sinatra at one point. Because they're in New York, that works. But it was, in fact, the Canadians getting the win with it was a toss into a code breaker for the victory, and it was no surprise to me that it was actually Enzo getting the loss as opposed to Big Cass. Steve, we thought that maybe that Enzo and Cass might get the rub since they're the tag team, the actual tag team, uh,
Yeah.
but as opposed to being something that's just being put on, and especially that they're there at home as well. Bit of a
Uh,
surprise.
it was a surprise. I had as much as I wanted, Jericho and Owens to win the match. I did feel that they would go down the end zone, Cass winning. I thought they'd have the more veterans of the two teams putting the other ones over, but that didn't happen. I thought that it was I thought the match itself it didn't really hit any heights. That you kind of I was expecting a lot more, but then I thought, well, the fact that it's been so rushed over the last 3 weeks, what could you kind of expect other than what we got with it? Um, and I think the last thing that I kind of got out of it that the more likely to we'd said that we could see like Jericho and Kevin Owens not being on the same page and turning that into singles rivalry between them, it almost looked more likely that they were setting it up for Enzo and Cass to be split up, for Cass to go on that push as a singles competitor.
Possibly, it's quite possible that Enzo Amore are getting knocked out in that tag match, and Big Cass having a rather successful run in the weeks that he was out is possibly the worst thing that could have happened to Enzo.
Absolutely, yeah.
Chelsea, your boys, the Canadians, Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens got the win. You must be dead pleased.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I said on our last show, like, I would be really quite annoyed if Enzo and Cass were to beat Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. I do like Enzo and Cass. I mean, I like them a lot more down in NXT. I'm slowly
They're wearing
starting
thin
to.
now.
They
Wearing
really
thin now.
are.
Yeah.
They really are. But I think
Crowd aren't saying so. Crowd are all in it.
I just don't think that their wrestling ability, to me, it's not improving. And if they'd have gone over with the likes of Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho, it would have been silly. So I'm really happy that the best men won.
And to be honest, I think Enzo Amore could be great in the cruiserweight scene. I think he'd be really good. But that's for the future, I guess.
There's definitely a place. He's in the right place, isn't it? If they do split up, it'd be more interesting to see how they would actually split up, because obviously they're not going to go into any kind of feud, are they? So is it like will it be like a mutual respect? Enzo say, "I'm holding you back," kind of thing, and I don't know.
Why can't we have it where like they're a team and they've got each other's back, but they don't actually have to tag up every week?
No, that's true.
We don't have to go for the tag titles. I can have your back when you're going for the US, and I can have your back when you're going for the cruiserweight.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, Kevin Owens, Jerry KO, I think they were getting called, weren't they? Pick up the win. I would totally skip this part, what happened next, but it kind of comes in later. Shane McMahon, Brian Foley, and Shane McMahon are all backstage with Jon Stewart. Typical segment, I guess, but it was then the New Day who said that they needed to talk to Stewart and had a job for him, so I guess we'll find out about that later. Right, Chelsea, Sasha versus Charlotte for the WWE Women's Championship. Oh man, this was a struggle, man. This match was wayward, I think is the best way. Great match. I mean, I'll watch it back and I'm pretty sure I'll still think it was fun and great to see, but I didn't think it was going to go past 5 minutes. I mean, I don't know about you. This match just, I think you said it best, Chelsea, was reckless.
Yeah, Sasha is just. She doesn't really give much thought for her actions, does she? I mean, some of the stuff, like, I can't remember what move it was, but when she landed on her neck and
it was on the corner, and Charlotte was going to give the Razor's Edge from the.
It's a Razor's Edge into Hurricane Rana, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Frankensteiner. It was Razor's Edge into a Frankensteiner from the second rope, and Charlotte flipped over like she was meant to, but man, Banks just landed straight on the back of her neck, and that was after she'd already landed on the back of her neck in a bad way from Charlotte in the corner.
I didn't think they were like reckless in terms of not giving a care for their own body. I think they were just completely botched. I don't think it was anything to do with them putting everything on the line for what it was. I thought that they were completely botched, because they were very close to being. We're talking Austin injuries there.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, any of those ones where Sasha, I mean, Charlotte was probably safe throughout the whole thing, actually, but the ones where Sasha was basically 1 inch, 2 inches from being vertical and landing straight on her head.
Yeah, I think we all put "ooh," didn't we, in one message all at the same time, like simultaneously. I think we were all cringing from where we were watching this.
There was a few things we all said. It was "ooh," "fuck," "holy shit." I think we all put those at some point during this match. But yeah,
Sasha was lucky to get out with just losing the title, I think.
She did lose the title. It was not in the way you might have expected, though. We had Sasha kicking out of natural selection a couple of times, and even reversed a move straight into the bank statement,
That was
which
beautiful.
was smooth as fuck. But in the end, it was a bank statement being turned inside out into a roll up, and it was Charlotte getting the surprise victory. Now, there was a few things that was going through my mind at this point, which I've now retracted, and knowing things that we know now is easier to understand. But I totally thought like maybe Sasha got seriously injured mid-match and they had to call an audible and let Charlotte win. I thought that was quite a possibility. I also thought it was a possibility that Sasha just couldn't kick out. So the refs are told if you're counting, just keep counting. You know what the finish is meant to be, but if they don't kick out, you have to count in the match. But it turns out that Sasha Banks was scheduled to lose the match. She has been still dealing with a few niggling injuries. It's going to take some time off, which certainly plays into it now that she looked like she got injured, banged up in a big way, and she was helped out of the arena. I certainly don't think these helped her injuries somewhat, but damn, Sasha's the champs again.
If they knew that Sasha was injured and was going to need this time, why did they give her the belt in the first place?
It's one of those things where you might not find out until the last checkup that how bad things are. But I mean, how many times have we seen like they've gone in? Shelton Benjamin, for example, has gone in for a thing. A checkup, and he's just said, "Oh, actually, that niggling thing that you've said is actually
that's
really
true.
serious."
Yeah.
But Charlotte's champ. Can't imagine you're too happy with that.
No, I mean, before obviously reading what we've read today, I was so annoyed last night. I was shouting at my TV screen, annoyed.
Yeah, I could just imagine it. The 3 count going, and you're just there going, "Why?"
But yeah, I wasn't too happy last night. But obviously now we know that she's obviously had to take time off. But I completely agree with Steve. Like, if they knew that she had these niggling injuries, like, why give her the belt? I mean, she's had the belt for 3 weeks, and it's a massive disappointment. It's a massive disappointment, but there's not a lot you can do. Charlotte having the belt again.
Let's be honest, right? She's only the only legit choice on the card at the moment to have the belt.
Oh, yeah,
definitely. I just hope this time they do it better. Like, obviously last time she was winning with Rick, winning with Dana. I just hope that this time they give her a legitimate run for it, where she hasn't got anybody helping her. And
well, I think that's the only thing that this has done, I suppose, with her losing the title. They have allowed her to break away from anybody, haven't they? With Sasha winning it and then getting all the stipulations in there where she can't have any assistance at ringside. She's won that clean. She's won it by herself. There isn't a need for Dana Brooke to be with her now. So hopefully we do see Charlotte in that light.
Right, prediction time. Charlotte comes out boasting tonight on Raw. Bayley comes out.
Bayley comes out.
I think we might see Sasha come down first, Charlotte give her a bit of a beat down, and then we get Bayley.
But Bayley's still coming out tonight.
But Bayley tonight, definitely. I would be very surprised if she's not there tonight.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we can get some Bayley and Balor love, we'll be good. Yeah, I hope it happens. I'm not sure it will. I think we might even get Charlotte versus Dana Brooke before that.
Oh, good God.
Yeah. It'd be very disappointing. But, the conclusion to that friendship has just been nothing. It's just been, we don't need you.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. We'll have to tune in tonight to see. I truly hope Bayley comes out, and I think the reaction she'll get will be freaking huge. Right, another championship match next. Or should I mention the Anderson backstage with AJ Styles?
That was another thing that made me shout at my TV.
Yeah. So
Like,
Dr. Gallows and Dr. Anderson are backstage with their jars of specimens for their research into the devastating ring postitis. And along comes AJ Styles and tells them that they're going to do the favourite thing, beat up John Cena, which they all love to do. And who comes out of the locker room door to the right of shot but Finn Balor? And there we have the club all on screen.
it was just they're all going for the too sweet,
Yeah.
and then Finn just smiles and walks away. He's like, God damn it!
It was
Yeah.
beautiful. It was beautiful. It was beautiful like that. It's exactly how they should have done it.
Well, it's exactly how they should have done it, but also a bit strange for the people who have no idea that
Yeah.
Balor was in the Balor Club. Like, because they said that he used to be part of the club before, or something to that effect, didn't they? And then they tried to do the too sweet, and then he just walked away. And then fans are like, he used to be in the club? What are you on about? I can just imagine some kids who are not, who've not got access to go on the internet at all times and read all this shit. But yeah, that was a fun backstage segment, and one I think we'll see more of. But yes, the IC Championship, the Miz versus Apollo Crews. I think this is one we can just skip, actually. The Miz got the win. There you go. I'm a bit sad for Apollo Crews. Again, buckets and buckets and buckets of talent. But
Yeah, I have
to do with it.
I have nothing with this other than the only note I put was no clue what to do with Apollo Crews now.
Yeah.
Uh,
Probably absolutely right. Although Maurice did have something to do with the decision in the end, so
I was just
maybe
about to say that Maurice was the best thing about this match.
yeah, that's what someone. What did I read this morning? I think I read Meltzer's, and he said Maurice's outfit was probably the best thing in the match. so that gives you an idea of what that was. So moving on to, I think I might put it up there. I'm just thinking now. I'm thinking I might put this at the match of the weekend. We had AJ Styles against John Cena.
100% agree with match of the weekend.
It was the match of the week. No doubt about it. Yeah, there's no question.
And another ending which leaves us asking questions. So the match itself was gangbusters. It went back and forth, finishers after finisher being kicked out of, which Russ wants to just let everybody know. Finishers are not being finishers enough anymore. People are kicking out of them far too much. Agree or disagree?
I agree in most cases, but I think for a match like this, when they are having to go to more and more extremes with their finishes, is completely okay. But everywhere else, when it's Roman Reigns spearing people all the time or stuff like that, I do admit it's a bit too much.
Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I probably kind of agree with Russ on this. I do think that with a lot of what's the point in actually having a finisher now? Like a highlighted move, because everybody kicks out of everything now. I mean, in this match we saw, I'm presuming it was the first, AJ Styles kicked out of the Attitude Adjustment off the top rope. Off the second rope, which with the Super AA, which has never happened before. So it's just I liked it when a finisher was a finisher, and you expected that once it was landed, that it was going to end the match. You got the odd occasion where it didn't, but it was few and far between. And now anybody actually like John Cena landing an attitude adjustment now after 5 minutes in a match is pointless, because you know that he's not going to win the match. So what's the point?
That makes sense though, doesn't it? I mean, you've not done anything else but an attitude adjustment. I don't think that's meant to win.
I don't know. I think there's too many of them being used, and there's too many definitely being kicked out of at the moment.
we've already said it today, but I mean, people like AJ Styles with his Styles Clash, which no one should be kicking out of. I mean, you're being landed on your fucking face, and John Cena with the AA, which is historically been a finisher that finishes the match off. I just don't see Bobby Roode pump handle slam being enough. But yeah, an incredible match. I think I tend to agree that the finishers are no longer finishers, and that sucks. But for a match like this, where it was more on the line than just a win, that they do bring out these things, these extra bouts of strength that make them kick out. But it was in the end AJ Styles hitting a Styles Clash before even going for a pin. He just decided to hit with a phenomenal forearm as well for the 3 count, and AJ Styles defeated John Cena clean in the ring. Notable in enough in itself. After the match, Cena had a moment though. He had the Bailey style walk off. Sat in the ring, took off his armband, which says "Never Give Up," and left it in the ring. Walked up the ramp, turned around, and saluted. So
What is going on?
Cena's taking time off, right?
Time off? Is he not coming? Like I don't know what's going on. Like I was sat there like
Don't do
jaw
it. Don't do
open.
it. Well, I
Like,
jokingly said to you, didn't I? John Cena retiring, winky face.
like no, I've always
But-
said like I'm not a massive fan of John Cena, but I don't see all the hate he gets and stuff like that. But when it came to him taking off his armband and I was literally just like, no, you can't. Like, stop. You're not allowed. I
I like to think that that's him giving up and coming back as the Doctor of Thugonomics.
That's exactly what. As soon as he put that down, I thought like, oh, he's gonna take time off. The first thing that came to my mind, he's got to come back. Thugonomics. That would be incredible.
His TV show American Grit is scheduled for a season 2, so yeah, he's got to do what he's got to do. I guess he's got to take time off. But this just seemed more, didn't it? Like
it did. It's John Cena taking off his Never Give Up band. Like, you don't do that if you're just going to film a TV show for a couple of months, right?
Yeah, more than him just saluting and turning around, he took it off, sat down and stared at it.
And then
after in the match, he's looked frustrated. He genuinely had that shocked face on when Styles just kept getting up.
When he kicked out of that AA, and he was literally just like
he stood in the corner.
What the hell is going on?
Yeah. So maybe he just doesn't have enough anymore, and he needs time to become a little bit more rugged.
No,
he's not coming back as the Doctor of Thugonomics.
No, all this was the fact that he was leaving to shoot his thing, and he was doing what everybody says he doesn't do, which was selling the loss.
John Cena putting somebody over.
Yeah, to which I've heard a few times today when I've been reading about and stuff about. Twitter was a mass last night with well done Cena for finally putting someone over. To which it points somebody came back and with the research that he hasn't won at Summerslam in 7 years or something. So who's he putting over for the second half of the second half of the wrestling calendar every single year?
Let's be honest, the more important part,
Yeah, it really annoys me when
Yeah, go on, Chelsea, go on.
Yeah, I just say it really annoys me when people say that John Cena, he's winning all the time, he wins all these belts, he's not putting people over, but the dude hasn't done anything what other than the US Championship. Okay, when was the last time he won the big belt? When was he put Kevin Owens over at pay-per-view? He's done this with AJ Styles. Like, the guy is not what people are making him out to be anymore.
No, it's like if anybody believes that if anybody believes that Vince doesn't want Cena in the title picture at all times, then they're delusional. Do you know what I mean? Like, him not being in the title picture is Cena's decision. Like, I've no doubt about that. If Cena wanted to be in the title picture, he would be there without question immediately. And it's just that I've got this match. It just shows how sometimes the crowds are just ridiculous, and it's just sometimes you just have to think you don't actually know anything. Like I'm all for falling into the storyline and booing Cena. For the fact if he's not the guy that you support, or he's, the way that it is, that people boo him and people cheer him, absolutely fine. But then don't chant in that match, "You can't wrestle."
That's another thing that you can't wrestle chance at Cena is stupid. Absolutely.
No, he can't wrestle like AJ Styles. He can't wrestle like American Alpha. He's right. He'd be the first one to admit it. But don't say that he can't. I've no problem with the crowd booing him, but then to boo and shout at him that you can't wrestle when he's putting that match on, it's just it's stupid. I find it pointless. But it's not the only time that that crowd was wild yesterday, to be fair. They were like rabid dogs. They were just booing at everything about by this stage.
What was it? I mean, the CM Punk chants came back, and I haven't heard those in a long time. I can't remember what match it was. But
that was
to the end match.
Rusev. That was just at the end of Rusev, wasn't it? And before Finn, before Brock came out and stuff. But I think by that point they were that confused as to what's going on.
The crowd was rabid, but it was a Brooklyn, New York crowd. So.
Yeah, but going back, it was absolutely the match of the card, and it cements AJ as the top heel on SmackDown, and I would be that must be him now challenging Ambrose, for the title.
Yeah.
He must be next up.
I certainly hope so. And just to reiterate the point, Steve, I'll make your point even more. John Cena has now lost every one of his SummerSlam matches since 2010, when he won the Team Cena or Team WWE versus the Nexus. The last time he's actually won a singles match at SummerSlam took place nearly 10 years ago when he defeated Randy Orton for the championship. So almost 10 years since he's had a singles victory. Don't put anyone over though. Moving on. We had Jon Stewart come out to pay off what happened earlier on with the New Day. He came out saying that referencing last year's hitting John Cena with a chair and told you should probably never do that, and made some fat adult joke. Alright. But he's on New Day's team this time because Big E isn't there. And we start the match. Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson versus the tag team champions for the titles. I don't really know what to say about the match. It did everything I thought it was going to do until the end. If you imagine the match that you was going to get with the two, we had the Unicorn Stampede, we had Carl Anderson being the dominant team in the corner, we had the hot tag to Xavier Woods, but I don't know why I even think about it. And we talked about how legit Big E's injury was, but it was in fact Big E coming down for a run-in as they were about to cause Jon Stewart to have some ring postitis. And Big E came down for the save and got a DQ, so the club win by disqualification, but your champs are still the New Day. Strange one. I think we all expected. I know you did, Chelsea. You had a lot on the line for the Gallows. Gallows.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That was gutting, wasn't it?
What one?
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, they didn't got the titles, which is why she booked them together.
But they're gonna get a rematch, and they're still gonna take the tag titles next. So long game, maybe.
Maybe so.
The thing that I picked out of this, Mickey, was that how much the missed Big E's ability, Big E's ability in the ring, or even just in general, pre-match and in ring ability. The New Day are half the team when he's not there.
Well, he does wear the same as the other two combined, so
that is true, factually metaphorically and factually correct.
You're probably right. He has for a guy who let's think back. He was Dolph Ziggler and AJ Lee's bodyguard. You know, for a guy who was doing that kind of shtick back then and with hardly any personality, this guy who we have now in the New Day is a completely polar opposite, and he does bring even his things that he's not even on the mic. He's just doing his facial expressions and he's just doing his mannerisms. They do have a lot missing when he's not there, which to me tells me that that Big E needs some singles title love, and also that the New Day cannot break up.
No.
So I know a lot of you guys were saying that they are going to break up at some point soon. I cannot see that happen. Um,
No, I think I know I was very much an advocate for them breaking up at some point, but I must have like I kind of felt they could leave Big E could go on a singles push and they could carry on, but like what I've seen the last few weeks, whilst Big E's not there, I think there's the New Day as a product is so much weak is very very weakened and um, I think would really struggle to continue without his presence in the team.
Totally agree.
Although I will say Kofi is producing some of his best wrestling since
His Randy Orton
whenever.
feud. His Randy Orton
Yeah,
feud. I mention it a lot,
yeah,
but when he had that Randy Orton feud, he was on another level, which I don't think
yeah.
I've seen him back to really.
No, he's definitely getting up to a level that's also worthy of singles matches as well. Really,
I'm all for it. Let the New Day be the dominant force on Raw. Yeah, right. That's not happening. Anything else to say about this tag team match? I think we're obviously going to get a rematch at some point, as you said, Charles. Anything else to take away?
no.
No.
No. Let's move on then to obviously at this stage in the card, 2 hours in and 2 hours to go. It is time for the WWE Championship match of Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler, which starts the process of why the what they So yeah, why was this match now? Who knows? I don't think we're going to get an answer. But after Big E came back down, you said the crowd were crazy all night. See, the crowd were asleep or at the toilet or they'd gone for a drink or something because they weren't at this match. Um,
Well, I don't. They wouldn't have been expecting it. Like, there's no way that anybody in that crowd would have been expecting that match to appear at that stage. Um, and I think everybody was just left gobsmacked by what was like. Everybody was kind of confused as to what was happening. We were trying to work out how many matches were left, and we were like, "There's 2 hours left of this show." And from what we can work out, there's only an hour's worth of there's only an hour's worth of entertainment left, and it was really bizarre, and it just started off like you've just said. It started off a whole a whole list of bizarre placement and things that happened, um, and it just seems to be the thing with these longer ones because it's exactly what happened with WrestleMania. We got to
that's
this
true.
2 hour point. We got to this 2 hour point.
Perfect show up to 2 hours WrestleMania.
Yeah, and there was nothing wrong with this show particularly up to that point, and then it got to this point, and then it's like all cards are off the table and everybody's doing what they want. But going to the match, I was really disappointed with it. The match itself was fine. I was really disappointed with how it ended.
So
The end.
the ending was Ziggler goes for an X Factor, Ambrose blocks it, hits him for the dirty deed, and rather cockily gets the pin to defend the title. So, yeah.
Yeah. Now, going completely against everything that was just said, I didn't expect Ambrose to win. We've just won. One dirty deeds.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So let's ignore everything I've just said previously.
Well, it's the title. It means something. It makes sense when it's a title match.
I, the thing that I think the thing I was thinking about it earlier when I was kind of thinking what I was going to say on the pod about it, like I didn't expect Ziggler to win this match, and I don't think anybody did. But
Oh no.
I don't think and this might just be me, and bear in mind it was whatever time of the morning, that we were watching it.
2 a.m.
2 a.m. Like I didn't expect him to win, but then after how they've made him the last couple of weeks, I didn't expect him to come off so weak.
Mm. It
Which
just
is
looked easy for him, didn't it?
It did. Like he was never out of like Ambrose was never out of control, and it was almost like everything that Ambrose said was exactly how it happened.
Yeah.
Like you can come with this attitude, you can come with this, but at the end of the day, I'll just beat you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely true. Now, there's one thing that really stuck out to me was the length of the match, and it didn't get given any time at all.
No.
Which is super weird for someone like Ziggler, and I guess Ambrose in some respects. When you have multi-man matches such as maybe the Elimination Chamber, or you have the Royal Rumble, or you have gauntlet matches or whatever, you're going to have Dolph Ziggler in because he's a worker and he works for a long time and he works really well and he's someone that you can rely on. And then they give him such a short match. We could have had so much better out of this, but as you said, it was just fine. Charles, I'm sure you have an opinion on this match, even if it is the same as what's already been said. What do you make out of this one?
Yeah, just really what you two have said, really. I mean, the match didn't grab me at all. It didn't feel like a title match whatsoever.
No, it didn't.
Where it was on the card, like you say, it was short. And just everything that had been built up to this match, it didn't really mean anything. Like you say, like Dolph Ziggler, he didn't. I'm not gonna say he didn't give it his all, but it felt very flat, I think, and there was just nothing special about it.
Do you know what it felt for me? Like, as you said, Steve, this title match, there was a dirty deeds and he got the pin 1, 2, 3, and you thought it was going to take more than one dirty deeds, and I totally agree. But at this point, because he got a dirty deeds and he kicks out of it, this is page 1 of the match, and the next page could be fine. You could build on that, and then that's the story of the match. But instead, it's like someone just ripped the page out and said, "No, we're just going to end it there." Actually, So it's like for me. It was like it was half the match it should have been. The match that we got was fine, apart from the crowd being flat and it being super short. What we had was fine. Just could have, if they continued it, could have been so much better. So,
yeah, it's a shame after what they've done, because what they've done in the last 3 weeks was perfect. We were saying that this was the one that got us all wanting to watch. We bought into the story of Ziggler putting his all into this, and he's more than what he's been portrayed as recently, and we all got into that, and we're all looking forward to this match for him then to just basically do exactly what Ambrose had said that he is just this, he's all show, and there's nothing else. There's no substance to him, which is exactly, he couldn't have been put over any weaker.
Yeah, totally true. But I guess that's what's happened to Ziggler now. He's the guy who puts people over, who makes them look good. And more than ever, I guess Dean Ambrose looks stronger now. So that's what we got out of it. But the match to follow the World Heavyweight title match is obviously a multi-man 6 women's match, right? So yeah, we had the team of Naomi, Carmella, and Becky Lynch, the face team, versus Alexa Bliss, Natalya, and Eva Marie. Or did we? Despite her suspension, it seems that Eva Marie's entrances are going to continue, as we got another fake entrance. What was her excuse this time? Oh,
she's over here. She's over here, isn't she?
What, she's got exhaustion and
she's in the British.
Holiday. Yeah.
She's in the British Isles having exhaustion from the crowd. I think I spotted her today, to be honest, in Halifax.
I think if she came, she wouldn't be going to Halifax. Yeah, I like the fact that she's been bullied by the crowd. Yeah, the WWE universe has bullied her. That's why she's taken to drugs. Okay. Yeah, so who was to take her place? We had a few questions of who could it be, but Chelsea nailed it in the end. As recently cleared, we had a returning Nikki Bella, which is bloody lucky, really, because there was literally nobody else. And between us doing a podcast saying who the hell is going to fill this spot to the actual show, there was nobody until Nikki Bella got cleared. So a bloody good job. Now, in the end, it was a return of Nikki Bella who got the win with a TKO, which Cena also used the exact same move in the match. Interesting. But Nikki wins. That's as much as we're going to say because there's nothing else to say. Except Naomi, your entrance. Come on, tone it down a little.
I really like it up until she gets in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, go down the ramp. That's fine. Just a bit much. It just went on like. Okay, you're watching. You're playing 2K16, 2K17 now, I guess, and you're doing your entrances. You skip when it gets after about 30 seconds because it's just too long. Like, I'm never going to see her entrance. Like, if I'm watching it even on catch up, on demand, on the network or anything, this is going to be one I'll just fast forward through instead of actually watching them come down because I don't want to. It'll take too long. Like 2 minutes. She ain't Balor. You know? Come on. Know your place. But what'll come after the Six Women's match, with 3 more matches still to go. Yes, that's right. We have the US title. No, not the US title. We'll have the the WWE Universal title instead. Another bizarre placement, and even more bizarre considering what is to come. Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins for the Universal title. Before we actually talk about the match, fans were chanting, and Seth Rollins has also got to Twitter today and said how disappointed he was that the fans were chanting "delete, delete," which made me chuckle, and also shouting "this belt sucks," because, ladies and gentlemen, it fucking sucks. It's the World Heavyweight title with red background with red leather strap.
It's
just
horrible.
Red.
It's just
red.
yeah, it's all red everything. It's even Marie belt. It's horrid. It's garish. I mean, I like red as much as the next guy, but fuck me, it's horrid.
I'm just annoyed. Like, it looks exactly the same. Like, it's a different color, but it's the exact same belt. Like, I really missed like the individuality between them.
Yeah, that it looks like those days are gone, doesn't it? Like we're gonna get another woman's title on SmackDown, and it's gonna look the same.
It's gonna be baby blue.
It'll be white with a blue, and then we'll get the tag teams, which will be the same as the tag team belts on Raw with a different color strap.
They'll be
Oh
blue.
no, it's just gonna be exactly the same as the other belts at this point, just 2 of them.
I hope not, because those tag team belts are the worst tag team belts ever. The ones with the fucking what is it? The Greek helmets on.
Yeah, the Spartan helmets.
The Spartan helmets. Come on, man. What's that? Worst tag team belts ever. Get the old tag team belts back. They were awesome. One of my favourite belts, actually, the old world title belts. Anyway, Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins. We expected a lot. I think we got a lot. We didn't get as much as maybe we'd have hoped. But I think they was given a time constraint, basically. Don't know how you guys feel about it. Charles, what's your opinions on the match? If not so much the decision just yet.
The match was good. It was, I mean, with matches like this where it's like a dream match sort of thing, I always build it up so much in my head that it's never going to live up to what you expect it to be. But I really enjoyed it. Finn looked awesome. His paint was one of my favorites, actually. I think he's ever had.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I didn't care much for the green.
Oh, I liked it.
Yeah.
I did.
Too much green going on with him having a green tone and Seth having a green accents on his attire. Nah, too much green.
Well, you like the blue. I didn't. I like the green. You don't.
All right.
No, I thought it was a great match. I mean, you can't expect a bad one when you put these two in the ring together. Um, Finn kicking out the pedigree was amazing. Like I think throughout the whole thing, I was terrified. I was like, it was one of those things where if Finn didn't win, then the demon thing would be completely wasted. And there was times in the match where I legitimately thought he was going to lose. So when he kicked out of that pedigree, it was that kind of made the match for me. I think it just when a match makes me like jump out my seat or I'm invested that much in it's a great match. I mean, it was nowhere close to Styles Cena, I don't think, but second
No.
best match of the night, definitely.
No, it definitely wasn't close to Star Cena, but it was certainly not a bad match. Again, loads of finishers that weren't finishing.
Yeah, that's the thing that annoyed me really. I think how many coup de grace did Finn have to do in the end?
Well, he only took two. I mean, he missed one off the top
There was
rope because
only
it was
wasn't
reversed.
there only there was
He
only
did,
one coup de grace, wasn't there?
well, he had the standing coup de grace, not from the top rope.
Yeah.
So,
How many
yeah,
it was I've got here how many drop kick those running drop kicks did we have to
yeah,
see? Because there are
the
about
shotgun
50 of
drop
them.
kicks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we had one in 2 seconds into the match, and then that was the first coup de grace attempt. We then had, I think, the finish of the match, which ended up with Finn Balor becoming the first ever Universal title champion. We had three, didn't we, in quick succession, and then there was some in the middle. So yeah, Finn Balor is your first ever WWE Universal title, and he's the first guy ever in WWE to become the champion in his debut pay-per-view outing. So lots of firsts for Finn Balor tonight, but is it going to be short-lived?
Yeah.
It was shown during the match that he was looking a bit hurt after he took some heavy bumps, and after the event, it is seen that he left the arena in a sling, and it's transpired that he's perhaps dislocated his shoulder whilst taking a powerbomb from Seth Rollins. Uh, Now he's been on This Morning America today, and he didn't have a sling. But if you watch the video that's on there on the internet, like he doesn't move his arm. He's holding the belt in a right angle, and he does not move that arm straight at all. So I don't know if there's something up, but he's going to get tested tonight, apparently at Raw. Hopefully, if it is just a dislocation, it was just a simple dislocation, pop back in job. But I guess there are complications that could come from that. I've never dislocated anything, so I don't know. But if it's the first time, there can be problems, right? That's how it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
If you do it regularly, it's fine, but first time, it's gonna be a ball ache.
Yeah, I mean, he's even with just a dislocation, he's going to be out for at least a couple of weeks.
It could be being booked to basically be the main guy on Raw is where this was going. It's a massive shame if it does mean he has to miss time. But let's not take away from the main event of the night, which was Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz in a KFC commercial. Can we just say what the fuck? Can we just say what the fuck and move on?
Yeah.
I mean, Ziggler in a Colonel Sanders costume and The Miz in a chicken costume is just too much for me to handle. Who got the win?
Colonel.
You thought the chicken should go over, didn't you?
Yeah, chicken should have been put over.
Yeah.
Chicken wins every time.
Right, and another confusing end to a match. After this, we basically didn't get a proper finish to a match. US champion Rusev came out against Roman Reigns, which just started as a brawl, ended as a brawl, and Rusev injured his ribs. And it was a brutal attack, and it was a brutal beatdown from both guys. But Rusev was selling the ribs that were injured. Reigns came back later with a running spear on the ramp, so there was definitely going to be no match. And it was announced that there would be no contest because he was unable to continue. The thing I noticed most out of this segment, we won Slater chants. So crowd just didn't give a fuck. I mean, where I'm going with this is Rusev selling injury, like selling it. He was selling it big time as well, man. He was just stood there, like he was actually hurt. So I don't know. Hopefully he's not actually hurt, and this is how it was planned, because I don't see that if he actually injured his ribs that they're going to let Roman Reigns come down and steer him. you know. So hopefully this is just a work. Any thoughts? Either of you?
Just no, it kind of fell in with what was going on at the time on the pay-per-view, didn't it? Like just a complete mystery as to why we've had all this build-up just for that.
Yeah.
You know.
And why not put that no contest earlier on? That's what I don't get. Why not?
Yeah.
Like, put that, right, this is the perfect time. At the start of the Finn Balor and the Seth Rollins match, the crowd was quite flat. If you go back and watch it, even after the Finn Balor entrance, the crowd still was really quite flat, and that's because it's following the friggin' 6-man women's match, and even if it's a 6-men match, no one's going to get really into it because it's a multi-man match like that, and the crowd doesn't get into it so much. Put this match in where it's a beatdown, crowd was getting into it a bit, and it's not having to follow Finn Balor.
Yeah.
It's, just so many things that don't make sense. Charles, anything to add before we move on to the final?
No, nothing at
What
all.
the fuck?
I couldn't care.
Excellent. Right, final what the fuck moment of the night. Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton. I mean, I've never seen anything like this before. Lesnar and Orton have a match that you could all picture and expect right now. It's a Lesnar match. It's beat down from Lesnar. It's German suplexes from Lesnar. It's Lesnar being, Brock Lesnar. Puts Orton through a table. Orton at some point reverses and takes over with an RKO onto announcer's table as well, which doesn't break. I liked that on Twitter. I saw that table's got balls to not sell to Lesnar, which made me laugh. Now, the ending. We need to talk about the ending because the world talk about the ending, and it's all over British newspapers and everything as well. So I mean,
really?
Oh yeah, it's taken over.
Yeah, it's all over the place. This match ends in what can only be described as a bloodbath, right?
Literally.
Brock Lesnar takes, yeah, right, totally. And Brock Lesnar takes off his UFC, what is it, 3/4 pound gloves or something like that. So he's got no padding on, and he gets on top. He gets on mount on a prone Orton after a kicking out of an F5, and he just goes to UFC town on him. He punches him while Orton's covering up, but he lands some swift elbows, some stiff proper elbows, and he cracks that skin wide open, and it delivered a lot of blood. Like I mean a lot of blood. So
it's been a long time since that amount of blood's been on TV.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's be real. It was Samoa Joe was the last time we saw it, but that blood stopped at NXT. Before that, it's Lesnar again. In Lesnar's match when he first came back against John Cena, it was John Cena who got busted open, and it's not busted open bladed. This is busted open the hard way, like through proper legit beatdown. Now, there are a lot of questions going around whether or not how was this match meant to end, because it can't have meant to end this way. But yeah, I mean, Steve, this ending, like, I think it's clear that it was meant to be booked where he was meant to draw some blood, but this went a little too far, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's definitely an understatement. The pictures that you can see online of the, do I say cut or do I say crack? Because it is a crack in the skull Like this isn't just like a small, this isn't just like like you say, it's not this isn't a blading situation. This is legitimate. I liken it to the fact when you hit me with a golf club when I was a kid,
I
and
never hit you with a golf club. If anything,
well,
it was David.
well,
So
one of you has hit me with a golf club, and and that kind of leakage of blood. This was just a pool, and you could see it, if this was, and obviously, clearly it was all part of what it was supposed to be, what was supposed to happen. Brock Lesnar was making sure that they looked realistic, and that's the reason why Randy Orton's now got 10 staples in his head, because those elbows because it wasn't the punches, it was the elbows,
yeah.
and I think you can probably see the one that causes it. And there's about three where he literally gets him with the tip of the elbow right in the top of the head, and he's just not holding back. He's not holding back at all.
No, it's those two
Um,
elbows that do it, and if you watch, the punches actually are quite lame. They're just
yeah,
hitting
yeah,
him
they
on the
are.
arms, but it's those elbows that got through. But I mean, this is Brock Lesnar, right? Brock Lesnar can pretty much do what he wants. Like a part of me in my head thinks, right, this was obviously the planned. But do you think Brock Lesnar just went, I'm just going to take it that extra step further? Austin's always saying people aren't taking risks anymore. I just think like Brock Lesnar's just gone. Do you know what? I think Orton's just annoyed me a little bit too much. He landed me on the top of my head with a really stiff DDT. I'm going to land on his head. You tell me, Charles, that you cannot see Lesnar doing that.
No, definitely. I mean, I 100% agree when I think that the end of the match was meant to be what it was. There was meant to be blood drawn, but there is no way in hell that it was meant to be to that extent. Like, and it very much is. I mean, nobody can control Brock Lesnar, can they? I mean, even put him in a room with Vince and try and make Vince say no to him.
I thought it was more telling, like the bits where, once that, I'm sure when they were going through what was going to happen, like we said there, Brock was going to win like that, and he was going to continue the beat down afterwards. But once that blood started pouring and the doctor came in and ended it like that, there was no, there was no, the shock value was done. There was no, so all that going back onto him in the beatdown, that was like just Lesnar just doing what he wanted to do. Like
Yeah,
he didn't need to do any of that at that stage.
No,
I
but the
think
same.
that was one of the first times in a long time where I've literally been like watching wrestling and I've not really wanted to watch what's going on, because with that amount of blood, there is Brock Lesnar shouldn't have gone anywhere near him afterwards. I mean, even if he's not actually hitting him, the amount of damage that he could have caused. I mean, I know people say like, "Oh, wrestling's fake" and stuff like that. It's not actually hitting him, but with a head injury that severe, there is no way that Brock Lesnar should have continued to go back to him. And
Yeah,
it really got to me actually. Like, I didn't like it at all.
no, it wasn't nice. I mean, could you imagine? I mean, this is PG. Can you imagine these kids watching it? I mean, I've not watched SummerSlam back with Ryan. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'd let him watch this. He doesn't. He doesn't. I mean, he doesn't like violent things anyway, does he, Steve? I mean, he don't. When he watches like Marvel stuff, he gets to be scared. I can't imagine watching the end of this and thinking.
He won't like it when I do that to him at weekend.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, clearly it was a shoot finish. No, it was a planned finish. It wasn't a shoot. It was meant to look like a shoot, and it was meant to draw blood. But man, no when enough is enough. I think all the rest of it was then an audible, except the very end. Shane McMahon comes out to check on Randy Orton. Shane McMahon can't get past Brock Lesnar, keeps stepping in front of him, and delivers an F5 to Shane McMahon as
I
well.
thought that were brilliant.
Paul Heyman's freaking out at this point. What have you done?
Yeah, he got himself so well done. He's fantastic.
I
Like,
think
Yeah, you saying the extra ground and pound stuff after he got hit and the blood was drawn? I think that, yeah, I agree that it wasn't necessary because obviously the damage has been done. Like I've seen people on Twitter be like, "Oh, but why didn't you throw up the X? Did you did? Oh, sorry, you needed the X, did you? You didn't. That the 5 pints of blood that just came out in 5 seconds was not enough for you to realise that it was done. No, all right, okay. Um, but yeah, I mean, he's probably been given a message, or even Paul Herman, who obviously will work on the fly, has just said, give him some soft hits to make
Yeah,
it look real. But something like that could have happened because it clearly wasn't the plan finish. So a message has been put along for Brock to do something. But I just think clearly Brock doesn't give a fuck. So he's there to make money. He's done his job, and now he's gone home to Deborah and on the farm. Yeah,
the Deborah.
it's his missus, isn't it?
Wasn't that Stone Cold Steve Austin's missus, Deborah?
Yeah, that's his missus.
That's not Sable's name, is it, Deborah?
Ah, no, Sable. That's it. Sable. You're right. My bad. Yeah, totally got the wrong blonde wrestler. Yeah, same thing. But anyway, he's back on the farm. Was the point?
He is. That's him done in it. That's him for another. I can only assume that what we're going to get here is that SmackDown are going to find somebody to take on Brock Lesnar next time, or what. I don't know. I mean, the good thing, the fact that we've got that Brock will now be off. I think it said on the internet that last year he didn't come back till October after SummerSlam.
It's only a month away.
Or maybe even November, but they can use. I don't know whether do we see Brock Lesnar, suspended, for his actions and that kind of key. They've got a reason for him to be off the screen, and in that meantime, Shane finds somebody finds somebody to take on.
Training montage.
To take on Thingy. Probably Goldberg, I suspect.
That was the other thing, wasn't it? People were thinking Goldberg, the crowd was chanting Goldberg. You two thought Goldberg, possibly. I fucking really hope not. But Goldberg does run a match in WWE, so, go figure. There was one last thing that I wanted to say. Oh, that was it. You're saying that they're going to find someone else. Legit, right? Say you're a wrestler, you're on the roster. I'm planning, I'm writing. Right, Steve. You're going WrestleMania. Yeah. So congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
You've got your WrestleMania package, your debut. Congratulations. You're off up against Brock Lesnar, and he's going to bust you open hard way. Just sign on the dotted line, please.
Yeah.
No, good thanks. I'm not going to do that. Who's going to sign on the dotted line?
Heath Slater would. He's got his kids to think about.
How many?
6.
Yeah. I mean, seriously though, if I was a wrestler, I would be taking any match with Brock Lesnar. But then that's why I am not a wrestler.
Maybe it's just all, it's just all what it was exactly it was supposed to be, and it was all done. The only thing that actually, it was just an act. The only thing was that the cut that happened was more excessive than they wanted, but everything that happened was meant to happen. I can't buy into this, like, Brock Lesnar being like a complete dick, like
does his own thing.
Yeah, like I know that you've got to think like it's his health as well, when he's out there, like he's been put in a number of situations, over the years as well, and he's been in UFC fights, and I can't believe that like he's not, he doesn't have any regard for for his opponent's welfare whatsoever, it's. If you think about it properly, I think that it's just a case that the blood that got spilled was more, the crack on the head was much more than what was supposed to happen. But
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if everything else was supposed to it happened exactly how they wanted it to happen.
Just interesting to how the finish of the match was actually planned to go down, but either way, I think Brock Lesnar was obviously going to get the win. Which really leads me to a question: like, what the hell are they going to do with Randy Orton? That's the final question of the show. What are they going to do with Orton? Even when he does come back from his heavy concussion after his knockout and the stitches of staples have been removed, what the hell are they going to do with him?
Well, for me, they set up this on SmackDown, didn't they, with the fact that as he was walking off stage, Bray Wyatt was walking to stage, and Bray has nothing at the moment of any legitimacy, and the fact is that they'll both be able to go into that if they can claim, Bray can claim that he's a false idol or whatever, for what he promised to do to Brock Lesnar and didn't do. And I can definitely see them two heading into a feud. I think that's probably the only place where they would fit, to be fair, at the moment.
But has Randy Orton just not lost total legitimacy here, Chelsea? What do you think?
I don't have a clue what they're going to do with him next. I have no idea. I can't give you an answer. I honestly don't have a clue.
Anyway,
Cena didn't lose legitimacy, and Cena was put through worse than that. He didn't look as bad, but Cena didn't put up as much offense as Randy Orton did in that fight.
But I mean, this is Randy Orton's return. Like, he's been off for 9 months.
Maybe it's the case. Maybe we see him come back as a heel again. We can only hope.
Yes.
We nearly got the punt in the head.
We almost got the punt in the head. But
I bet he wish he did it now.
Yeah, I bet he does. As that ended the show, Brock Lesnar walking up the ramp to close off the show. That's going to end the show here. So let us know what you thought of SummerSlam and NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2. And find out what's going to happen on Raw next week on our next show. And fingers crossed that we get Bayley, right?
Hey, we want some Bayley.
Exactly. Chelsea, where can people find you?
Fight Chelsea Fight on Twitter.
Stephen, are you hiding?
Yeah, I'm nowhere, man. Nowhere. Just I'm here.
At Russ Boynton.
Yeah.
Oh, at Russ Poynton. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tweet me there.
Yeah. just start them with hi, Steve. You can get me at DjangoBob96, and you can reach us at DjangoBob96. Before I said that one, at Out of Nowhere Pod on Twitter. That's it for this show. Join us next time. Bye.
What a wonderful tight 60 that was.
That was bad.